Hello, welcome back to Readings in Impact Investing. My name is Daniel Rosehill. This is a YouTube channel and an accompanying podcast which is containing readings from the world of impact investing's important documents and reports included there. So we are looking at the ITF State of Play 2023 report. This has been the second major report issued by the ITF, the Impact Taskforce, since its inception in 2021. And today we're going to be reading Chapter 5, The Way Forward. And I'm also just going to read, just for the sake of completion, the abbreviations and acronyms section from the appendix. There's a little bit more in. There's Annex A, which is success stories in mobilizing domestic pools of capital for impact. Not that this material isn't important, but I don't think it really merits being read out in this podcast. So we're on page 37 of the report, the printed version. And of course, if you want to follow along or read this afterwards, you can follow from page 37. And then we have the abbreviations and then finally those two annexes that I just mentioned. In 2021, we came together as an independent group of leaders and experts from the world of investment, finance, policy, international development and cooperation to offer industry-led, action-oriented insight to transform our economic systems for good. As previously stated, we are encouraged by progress made over the past 2 years, including by several of our members, against our core legacy recommendations. However, we are deeply concerned by the sluggish pace of progress despite the urgency of the situation and worsening conditions in EMDEs. And just a quick reminder again that EMDEs is emerging markets and developing economies. That's what that abbreviation stands for. In light of this, moving forward, we reaffirm our commitment to remain a leading voice for innovation and advocacy, including in key international fora such as the G20, committed to the most effective means to achieve full impact transparency and to unlock capital at scale for a just transition to net zero that does not leave people and places behind. Above all, our commitment is to solidify our position as a practical forum for action, bridging the gap between rhetorical ideas and tangible outcomes. We will do so by leveraging the power and reach of our global network, including the unique perspectives and drive of the national impact leaders in and across the 40 plus countries in which the GSG operates. As per our assessment presented in the sections above, we will prioritise work where we can add the greatest value around our two main work streams. Workstream A is impact transparency. Recommendation 1, leading through and alongside the GSG, a government-backed initiative to double down on efforts to promote greater inclusivity of voices from emerging markets in the main global sustainability disclosure standard-setting processes which are underway. Recommendation 2, supporting the work of the ISSB while continuing to engage with groups pushing for a build on the global reporting baseline for private entities, as well as supporting the IPSASB in its recent efforts to progress sustainability and impact reporting in the public sector. ITF members sit on both the ISSB and the IPSASB consultative committees. Advancing our vision to achieve impact accounting through the work of the IFVI, 10 ITF SteerCo members serve on this inaugural board, and the VBA who responded to our 2021 call to boost progress in the field of monetary valuation of impact, crucial for facilitating a new paradigm of risk, return and impact in business and investment decision making. So that was Workstream A, Impact Transparency, and now we have the recommendations of this report for Workstream B, which is capital mobilization towards the emerging markets for the fulfillment or achievement of the SDGs. Recommendation 4 is supporting strategic initiatives that aim to encourage mobilization into areas of high impact. In particular, we are proud to be formal implementation partners of the G7 Impact Investment Initiative for Global Health, III, led by Japan as the 2023 G7 presidency, with the support of other G7 partners and 37 inaugural members. As it invited the GSG to drive the III, as leading impact investment experts, the Japanese leadership also nominated Mr. Ken Shibusawa, member of the ITF Steering Committee and chair of the GSG Japan National Advisory Board, as one of the co-chairs of the III. Recommendation 5, furthering opportunities and partnerships to improve access to finance for SMEs in emerging markets, potentially supporting the development of blueprints for vehicles that bridge the gap between larger pools of investment capital and small businesses, thereby allowing international and especially domestic institutional capital to cascade down to local capital providers. This could build on learnings from the activities of local fund managers, such as those profiled in CFF's 2023 Local Capital Provider Survey, and from valuable models and precedents such as the platform recently launched by BII in Ghana, aimed at boosting funding for SMEs by, quote, industrialising and standardising the lending process to get growth and working capital to SMEs without the typically onerous collateral/security requirements that commercial banks usually require. Recommendation 6, to continuing to support colleagues at the Impact Investment Institute, the III, in the next phase of their Just Transition Finance Challenge. It is the III's ambition that in the next 5 years, 50% of the estimated 2.8 trillion invested in sustainable climate-focused funds will incorporate just transition considerations using the just transition criteria introduced in 2021 as part of the Impact Taskforce's work. The Institute is piloting the criteria with a number of asset managers and engaging with actors such as catalytic capital providers to ensure that these funds also support a just transition in emerging markets. The Impact Investing Institute has also developed a proposal for a just transition label recognising compliant products and solutions. Through our network, including the GSG National Advisory Boards, or NABs, the ITF will leverage the Impact Investing Institute's work and continue to engage with governments and stakeholders in key countries embarking on major energy transitions to explore the scope to build coalitions of action around the need to mobilise investments that integrate social and environmental objectives, seeking to support the most vulnerable communities. Brazil, as the largest country in Latin America due to lead the G20 and COP in 2024, and home to some of the world's most critical natural assets, remains a compelling opportunity for testing innovative solutions. Concluding remarks, we have polished the problem long enough. Common ground has been established around what needs to be done. The real pressing question, therefore, is why change is not happening with the urgency and scale of ambition required. In an increasingly challenging global environment, we cannot sit idle as system inertia in both the public and private sectors prevails, perpetuating a status quo that works against human development and pushes natural systems to the verge of their collapse. To an increasing extent, high-level global dialogue is engaging with the difficult shifts required. While we are broadly supportive of the direction of travel and will continue to engage as an expert recognised voice, our focus will be on the pragmatic things that can be done today to create a more enabling environment for mobilising private capital for impact, demonstrating what is possible. 2024 needs to be a pivotal year for change. It is still time to deliver, and that is the conclusion of the body text of the report. And as I mentioned at the start of this episode, there are 2 annexes which I'm not going to read, but what I will do, because everyone in impact investing justifiably and constantly complains about so-called acronym soup, I'm going to run through all these acronyms to help people who are a little bit confused or were confused and might want to listen to this, then reread some of the chapters. This hopefully will be a little bit helpful. Starting with AUM, Assets Under Management, AFDB, African Development Bank, BII, British International Investment, CFF, Collaborative for Frontier Finance, CIB, Career Impact Bonds, COP26, Conference of the Parties, the United Nations Climate Change Conference 26th edition 2022, DFC, US International Development Finance Corporation, DFI is a development finance institution, ESG is Environmental, Social and Governance, EFSDs are European Fund for Sustainable Development Plus, EMs, an acronym for Emerging Markets, EMEDs, an acronym for Emerging Markets and Developing Economies, EOF, the Education Outcomes Fund, ESRS, the European Sustainability Reporting Standards, EU, the European Union, FCDO, the UK Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, FIC, Finance in Common, FSB, Financial Stability Board, FSC, South Korea's Financial Services Commission, GDP, Gross Domestic Product, GEM's Global Emerging Markets Risk Database Consortium, GHG, Greenhouse Gas Emission, GIF, Global Infrastructure Facility, GPRBA, Global Partnership for Results-Based Approaches. GRI, the Global Reporting Initiative. GFANZ, GFANZ spelled out, is the Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero. The GSG is the Global Steering Group for Impact Investment. GSSS is Green, Social, Sustainability and Sustainability-Linked Bond Products. IAASB, International Auditing and Assurance Standards Board. The IDB is the Inter-American Development Bank. IFIs are International Financial Institutions. IFRS is the International Financial Reporting Standards. IFRS S1 is general requirements for disclosure of sustainability-related financial information, and IFRS S2 are the climate-related disclosures that the ISSB has agreed upon and shared. IFVI is the International Foundation for Valuing Impacts. IIF is Impact Investors Foundation. III is the Impact Investing Institute, which is the UK National Advisory Board of the GSG. The IMP is the Impact Management Platform. INFF's Integrated National Financing Frameworks. IOSCO is the International Organization of Securities Commissions. IPSASB, International Public Sector Standards Board. Just one more time, because that's a hard one. IPSASB, International Public Sector Standards Board. ISSB is the International Sustainability Standards Board. The ITF is the Impact Taskforce. JETP is a Just Energy Transition Partnership. KSSB, Korea Sustainability Standards Board. LMICs are Low and Middle Income Countries. MDB is a Multilateral Development Bank. MDTF is a Multi-Donor Trust Fund. MSMEs are Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. NAB is a National Advisory Board within the context of the Global Steering Group. OECD is the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development. PDB is a Public Development Bank. PIDG is Private Infrastructure Development Group. And SASB is Sustainability Accounting Standards Board. I was going to say finally, but there's a few more on the other side of this page. An SDG is a Sustainable Development Goal. SDSs are Sustainability Disclosure Standards. SEC is the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. SIB is a Social Impact Bond. SIDA is the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency. SME, Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises. SPTs, Specific Performance Targets. Interesting language for what are sometimes called KPIs in the context of sustainability-linked bonds and pay for success or results-based financing instruments. SSBJ is Sustainability Standards Board of Japan. SVI is Social Value International. TCFD is the Task Force on Nature-Related Financial Disclosures. TCX, Currency Exchange Fund. TISFD is the Task Force on Inequality and Social-Related Financial Disclosures. III, Impact Investing Initiative for Global Health. UNDP, the United Nations Development Programme. UNICEF, United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund. VBA, the Value Balancing Alliance, and finally the WHO is the World Health Organization. So that brings to a conclusion my narration of this particular report, the Impact Taskforce State of Play 2023. I hope this has been useful, and more reports in the world of impact investing will be coming on this podcast and YouTube channel.